Melbourne keeps its finals hopes alive in a thriller, and the bizarre post-game comments from John Worsfold. All that and more to come on the round so far. But Kane calls we start tonight at the Gabba. We can't shut the door on this Demon side. They continued to defy the odds.
And they needed to, didn't they? Firstly, what a great game it was. Two sides having a real red-hot dip. So I thought exceptionally well played to both of them. Key moments where the Demons stood up. That one there from Trent Rivers. We'll have another look at this. I think Tim Taranto will be really disappointed with this effort. We know he came in this season off the back of that shoulder reconstruction on that right shoulder and just didn't commit hard enough. And basically that was the difference. Simon Goodwin headed down to the bench. He was emotional after the game, as were the players. They're back in the 8, and despite a late run from this man, Brett Daniels, who I thought was one of the Giants' best with 3 goals tonight, it was too little too late.
The Demons are going to have to rely on other results just to make it. So they're in the 8 as we speak. The Dogs can leapfrog them tomorrow if they knock off Hawthorn. But this is huge after the Cairns catastrophe and the way they've been able to fight back. And you're just seeing the scenes here post-game with Simon Goodwin and his boys. We saw one man there, Stephen Coniglio, the captain for the Giants, dropped. Would he have made a difference in the final 3 or 4 minutes with that game on the line?
Well, it's easy to say in hindsight, isn't it? Because he's left out. But initially when he was dropped, I couldn't believe it. I think it is a symbol to be the captain of the club. It's quite demoralising to lose your place in the side. That's why it rarely, if ever, happens. 22 years ago was the last time. I know Ben Stratton's been left out for Hawthorn tomorrow. So there's maybe 2 in one round of footy. It doesn't happen. Yes, he would have made a difference. He hasn't been in great form, but I don't think he's been horrific. And he may have been the difference for the Giants tonight, and I'm just not sure where they come back to with him now and going forward for the rest of the 6 years left on his contract.
We have to come back for next week's game against the Saints. That's do or die. We just want to go back and have a look at a couple of moments involving Shane Mumford. Gave away 4 free kicks on the night. These 2 in the first quarter, critical in the outcome. And the Giants, they led the game at 3/4 time.
What is going on with their rucks? I mean, credit to him. He's been a warrior, Shane Mumford, but he's a frustrated footballer. Clearly, it's not easy for him to get out there, and his frustration boiled over tonight. And when you look at that free kick go directly down for a Petrarca goal, and then there's another one that we're going to see that ends up with Bailey Fritsch, who kicks another goal. In fact, it's Trent Rivers who gets on the end of the goal. But that was the next contest with Oliver. That was one of the free kicks. Now, he's always up high end of giving free kicks away in the competition. The clumsy effort to spoil there. Now, not a lot in that, and you would say it's an accident, but it happens too often with Mumford for it to be an accident. And when you lose a game by under a goal and you give away 2 goals directly from ill discipline, I'm just not sure what's going on with their rucks. I know they would have expected more from Sam Jacobs. He's hardly fired a shot, still a year to go left on his contract. So that hasn't worked. But they're going to have to target a proper ruckman going forward next year if they're seriously going to maximise the talent through the midfield on that list.
We saw Christian Petrarca involved there. He would be among the votes again tonight. You pointed out Brent Daniels. Talk us through this one, because I haven't seen a ball talk like this since your good mate Angus Monfries in the showdown.
Yeah, it was one of the goals of the year, wasn't it? I love him as a player. I think he's got some limitations with his size, but he's clever. And that one just bit into the turf and came back nicely. He threatened to be the match winner for them, for the Giants again, because once again, Cameron played far too high up the ground. He did that last week. He wasn't a threat inside 50. They're tall forwards, Berg and Finlayson haven't been. But this was directly after that goal that he kicked. He's on report for this. It's got to get thrown out. He's got his hands on the footy. That is perfect technique. Gets in low. There are accidents that happen in football, and we want to rule out dangerous acts. That is not a dangerous act. That was perfect technique. If I was coaching kids, that's exactly how I would coach them. So we can't be reporting and suspending players for acts like that.
The holding the ball interpretation has been a point of contention this season. Take us through these couple, because the umpires probably would have liked their time again.
How is that not a free kick? How in any era can we have 3 umpires on the field and they miss that? So it's a little one, but it happened twice. So that massive throw from Melksham was comical that they didn't pay it. And then once again here, even though they've cracked down on holding the ball, that's still not holding the ball. So there's been a lot of confusion with the rules this year. I hope it's tidied up next year when the umpires are back to training properly, as the players will, and there's just not as many mistakes that we've seen this year.
The Giants and Demons are going to have to rely on other results, but Port Adelaide won't. They've locked away a top 2 spot, which comes with a home qualifying final, Kane. It was the second quarter, 5 goals, 5 to 2 behinds. They blew the Bombers off the park.
Yeah, it's just an absolute domination in the second quarter, and about 60 more disposals for Port Adelaide, and they had more tackles, which is an indictment on Essendon, the performances that they've dished up this year. So the Bombers are on their knees. We know that. We'll hear from John Worsfold shortly, but Port Adelaide played powerful football. When they pressure from their forwards and they force that really messy kick from the defensive area that they're up against, they just set up almost like the old school wall, and it just kept coming back inside 50, as we're seeing here on this occasion. Their midfielders got their hands on the footy plenty of times, and Dixon was terrific as well. So the thought of not playing Carl Hooker from Ben Rutten, or whoever made that decision, John Worsfold, I'm confused by that, and putting Zerk Thatcher on Charlie Dixon was just setting the kid up to fail. And that happened initially, albeit Charlie Dixon was inaccurate, kicking 2 goals 3. But yeah, that was another pathetic performance from an Essendon side who, yes, were missing some quality, but they had some quality out there. And it's just their effort that you would have to question right throughout the year.
Zerk Thatcher was giving up 21 kilos against Charlie Dixon, and it might be down to your brother pre-game. This is Chad warming up with Charlie Dixon on the one-handers, and he went out and did it only a few moments later.
Yeah, I was so surprised, is it? Like, this would happen a lot at training. You'd do this after every training session before games, and then you get results like this. So it was really slippery conditions. I was there tonight, tough conditions for the players. To do that against 1 and 2 Essendon opponents, it's one of the marks of the year. And it's not a high-flying mark, and it won't feature probably in the top 3 marks of the year. But I'm yet to see as skillful a mark as that this year, and he went back and kicked the goal, which was the most important thing.
Bombers officially done now. Scores of 45, 42 and 29 in the last 3 weeks. These comments from John Worsfold are sure to raise the eyebrows, distancing himself from the Essendon Footy Club.
If Essendon stick to what they're working on and what they believe in together and pull it all together, we'll see where they're at. But we haven't had the opportunity to see that, I don't think, all year. So, yeah, I understand that Essendon people think that Essendon should be better, but they've also got to understand that the competition challenges clubs now to work to the same rules. So the same rules of the draft and the salary cap, and no one team has any more right to be successful quicker than any other team just because they're a big name club.
Fascinating comments. The Bombers have had 3 first-round picks in the last 3 years, traded them out. Port go and get Dursma, Rosie and Butters didn't play tonight, but they're fascinating given he's got a game to go, Kane. Should he be speaking like that when he's still employed by the Essendon Footy Club, even though he's been on record saying he wants to be elsewhere or wants another job in footy next year?
Yeah, I said it last week. He just shouldn't be talking. It's negligent from the club to keep putting him up. He's got 1 game left, and then he's looking to pursue other opportunities with our AFL clubs. He said that on record. So 3 games ago, John Worsfold saying Essendon are going to be a really good side and really quickly. Well, how significantly has that language changed in the last couple of weeks? He went on to say that if Essendon work hard, well, working hard is a given. I mean, that is a given for a side who's been through so much pain in the last 16 years. It's been such a long time since they've won a final. Essendon supporters don't want to hear they need to work hard. Of course you should work hard. It's an AFL footy team. Let's get this right. So I feel tremendous sympathy for what Ben Rutten is walking into. They're almost a broken footy club at the moment.
They kicked 1 goal after quarter time. They actually led at the first break, and they just checked out. We're having some vision here in the final quarter. Jake Stringer and then Joe Danaher, they didn't want to be on the park in that final term.
Yeah, it's just a bit of frustration. You can see to the bottom right hand of your screen, and there was a lot of aggro out there. Townsend was involved in that, and Jake Stringer, as you mentioned, and Joe Danaher, who moved well tonight, must be said. Joe didn't have his kicking boots on again, but this is Jake Stringer. His top comes off, unfortunately for him. He's got to get fitter. I mean, you can't be presenting like that as an AFL footballer, and no wonder he had 5 disposals on the night tonight. So I know at his best, when he's super fit, he's really effective in the forward line, but you get what you deserve. You present yourself in shape like that, that's why you get 5 disposals. And for an Essendon side who was pretty quick to throw their weight around off the ball in the last quarter, you'd have to ask them why they were dominated in disposals, yet lose the tackle count. So when the ball was there to be won, when they needed to pressure their opposition, they didn't want a bar of it. All they wanted to do was push and shove, which I found quite embarrassing. Yeah,
27 touches in 5 games for Jake Stringer since he's come back from that syndesmosis. Back to Friday night. It was much of the same for Richmond against Geelong. They completely strangled them. We've talked about Tom Hawkins getting distance on his opponents in the last few weeks, Kane, but he had none of the like against the Tigers.
Yeah, he has the homework from the Tigers and just what a defensive setup they've had for so long. And once again, you look at Richmond, you think, well, Grimes was outstanding, but after that, such an even performance through the midfield. Their highest possession winner was 19, as opposed to a lot of Geelong players that won the ball. But this is what they did so well. And it wasn't just the one person or the player. It wasn't Grimes all the time. I mean, we're seeing the rucks get back in front now, and Curvis. We're seeing the small defenders get back. Grimes sits on his head. So Tom Hawkins was never involved in a one-on-one. And that was in stark contrast to when Geelong decimated Port Adelaide only a few games ago. So they really did their homework at Richmond. You'll see it here every time Tom Hawkins is up against 1, 2, 3 Richmond opponents. And they had their pressure game going, their turnover game, their forward handball, their run, their carry. It was one of the best performances from any side I've seen throughout the home and away season so far.
These numbers are pretty stark, having a look at the Geelong players and where they got their disposals. So if you look at the first column, that's the percentage of disposals in the back half compared to their season. You look at Guthrie, Menegola, these guys are the ones that have been driving Geelong forward this year. Big numbers in defence, and it really showed that Richmond trapped them in the back half.
Yeah, you're not too worried if, Parfitt and Dangerfield and Dowhouse and Guthrie are getting the ball in the back half, are you? Good luck to you. Go up the ground, get your possessions there. What you're really worried about is those four and the players you mentioned, Menegola, are kicking the ball inside 50, and they're all goal kickers. So it just shows the domination and how hard Geelong had to work back defensively to support the defence. Richmond took 14 marks inside 50, and Revolt was a key part of that, with Lynch going off, and they just felt like they really had to get back and support their defence. But as they won the ball, too much of it was in the back half, as you've highlighted, and they weren't able to drive it forward to Hawkins quickly.
Dylan Grimes' first game back from a hamstring injury, 2 hangers. He was among the best for the Tigers, but another potential staging incident. This wasn't picked up by the match review, so he's avoided any fine, Kane, but this is going to be looked at for the rest of the season around Dylan Grimes.
Yeah, I don't blame him because the umpires keep paying it. So it's clearly he's put a lot extra on that than the contract was there, but he gets a 50-metre penalty. So until the umpires want to stamp this out and stop paying it, because we're seeing all of these are rewarded with free kicks. Now that one there, we know what happened there. Essendon kicked the goal through Tip and Woody. It came back and the result. And we're seeing this one here against the Western Bulldogs. All of them are rewarded in free kicks. So what the umpires have to do is identify Dylan Grimes as a serial stager, someone who continually exaggerates contact, and not pay the free kicks. That's the only way he'll stop doing it. Now, it's a shame because he was the best player on the ground.
Just quickly, Tom Lynch, touch and go for the first final. Ivan Soldo out for the next 12 months with an ACL. How big is the Lynch loss in the immediate term?
Yeah, the Lynch one's massive. I think they'll get him back for a prelim, so I think they'll be good enough to get there without him. But can they win it without him? Well, you're saying that about every team, though, aren't you? Every team seems to have at least one key pillar out. Maybe Geelong and Port Adelaide are lucky, touch wood, so far, but Brisbane with Andrews, McGovern at West Coast, and now Lynch with Richmond. So it seems as though all the good teams are going to have to deal with some sort of injury to one of their best players.
To Metricon Stadium today. Absolute procession for Fremantle. They're ending the season on a high. Jesse Hogan, bag of 4 goals. It's impressive, Kane, because he hasn't kicked one for the season coming into today, and their 3-pronged attack worked pretty well.
Now, I mentioned it about a month ago when he wasn't in the side and he continued to be overlooked from selection, even though he was super fit. And I said, surely there's a team out there. Clearly, Fremantle don't want him at the club. Surely there is a team in desperate need of a key forward that would go after this man. And now this has just been reinforced by this performance. So I was wrapped for him. Didn't get a lot of the footy, just the 6 disposals, but he's kicked 40-plus goals 3 times before, and he's still a relatively young man at 25, I think he is. So a lot of footy left in him, and I'd be surprised if he's at Fremantle next year, but there should be 2 or 3 other clubs certainly sounding him out in this trade period.
He does have a contract for next year, and Longmuir said they're going to back in the 3 tours, and he loved what he saw from it today. As for the Roos, Reece Shaw said it wasn't AFL standard. They were smashed all over the park. Let's take a look at their coaching panel right now, because 2 of their line coaches were made redundant earlier this season. Brendan Whitecross looking after the forwards, and then Jared Rivers looking after the backs. It means their development coaches on the bottom line there have all had to stand up.
Yeah, with all due respect to the names that we're seeing on the screen, he has been hung out to dry a little bit, hasn't he, Reece Shaw? I mean, it's not a star-studded or highly experienced assistant coaching panel. So I think North Melbourne have to go after someone who's been there or been in the system for a long time, even maybe someone who's coached at senior level to come in and be that support mechanism around Rhys Shaw, because, he hasn't coached a team in his own right before, I don't think. Maybe in the NEFL he had a crack at it, but he needs some serious support and experience around him, because this is probably the toughest job in the AFL moving forward. I think even Adelaide are further in front of where North Melbourne are, because at least Adelaide knew where they were at. I don't think North Melbourne did. I think North thought they were going to be pushing for the finals again next year. Adelaide knew they weren't. So they're at least 12 months behind. It's going to be a long road for them, and Rhys can't continue to be hung out to dry with a coaching panel like that.
First-time head of footy in Brady Rawlings as well. First-time CEO in Ben Amafio. They tried for Alan Richardson and missed him. He's now at the Demons. Back to Thursday night. The Saints had a chance to own the rest of the season for themselves, lock away a finals berth. They didn't take that opportunity. And the Eagles, with a host of stars out, stood up when it mattered most.
And it was their best players that did, and we'll have a look at it. So this is the only difference in the game. Their star players, and Kennedy had a quiet night, but when he was called upon, kicked this massive goal. Look at the scores there. Clutch goal from outside 50. But really the three that we want to look at is that man, Nat Nui, who is the All-Australian ruckman. I don't want to hear any argument other than that. He's been the best ruckman by a mile in the game and continues to get better as the year goes on. It was Kelly here with 9 clearances. He had 30 in his best game for West Coast so far, and it was the veteran Andrew Gaff just running a mark on the wing, getting 33. So you compare that to the Saints star players and Hill and some others who Hill just the 14 disposals. That's the difference in the game. Well as St Kilda need a goal kicker. So we know that Max King will do that eventually. A couple of big opportunities, and Membry, both of those didn't fire a shot despite having more inside 50s than the Eagles. And that and St Kilda's lack of firepower, the difference in the game.
The Saints are only missing 2 of their best 22. Have a look at some of the Eagles' names here. They'll get Archie and Sheed back for next week. They're going to fly home straight after that Thursday night game against the Roos. They're going to be dangerous if they get a home elimination final.
Yeah, they will be. I'm not sure how much further they can go, particularly if McGovern doesn't get up. It's just been a really tough season for him. He seems to be under a lot of ailments, but I expect them to win the first final. How much further they can go after that, I'm not sure, despite them being probably the hottest team in the comp for that 8-week stretch when they were back in Perth this year.
The scans have come back for McGovern, touch and go for the first final, so fingers crossed they can get him back. Let's have a look at the ladder as it sits. As we said, Port Adelaide locked away for that home qualifying final. Geelong needs to win next week against Sydney to claim the double chance. The Saints need to get a win against the Giants to secure their fate. And the Pies on Monday night, Kane can lock away their spot with a win over the Gold Coast.
Yep, and then they play Port Adelaide as well in round 18, which is going to be massive for Collingwood as well. And then there's the Giants and the Western Bulldogs. So all in the mix. So we are down to 10, aren't we, with only 8 spots available. It's fascinating. It's going to go right down to the wire, and that Giants-St Kilda game is going to be huge. And
a big chance for the Dogs to pick up some percentage tomorrow when they face the Hawks. Let's have a look at the rest of the round as it comes. Big games tomorrow. Carlton, they've got the slimmest of hope if they can knock off the Crows and gain some percentage, but all eyes on the Dogs getting the win over the Hawks.
And Bryce Gibbs' farewell game against his old side. So that's an interesting subplot as well. Sean Burgoyne going around for season number 20 announced today. Hawthorn against the Dogs. Sydney and Brisbane, you'd expect Brisbane to be too good in that one as we gear up for what's going to be a fascinating final series.
And De Goey and Adam Treloar confirmed starters for the Pies on Monday. Let's have a look now at our one more thing. Angus Brayshaw out for the season. Kane, he's had surgery on that foot, out for 10 weeks. This is eerily similar with the 2 goals at the Gabba.
Yeah, Neil Bullen just channeling a bit of Angus Brayshaw with the golf celebration. So I'm not sure what that's all about, but I didn't mind it.
He's in the hospital bed there. Angus Brayshaw had the surgery, out for the next 12 weeks. So he'll be shattered. He can't play, but he would have enjoyed the Demons getting the win tonight. Kane Collins, we'll see you same time, same place next week. We'll probably know our finalists by then.
Look forward to it, Mitch.